it should be noted, like I said, we don't have too much of a problem filling part-time positions in our Parks and Recreation Department. This salary grade plan, not much, if anything, has changed with the part-time market here in Glenwood since the last time the market was looked at in 2010. The ranges, for the most part, in the larger positions that we hire for had remained static, and our part-time salary plan is still very much viable. So I'm recommending nothing more than cleanup items to this, and that can be seen on the next page. There are additions of 3 positions, the additions being a recreation intern, which we have classified under a recreation assistant up until now, but I wanted to break that out a little bit more. We usually have 1, is that correct? 1 a year, yes. 1 to 2 a year that fulfill this role, usually getting college credits towards, but it is a paid intern. Seasonal maintenance worker, this is to replace the obsolete parks maintenance 1, 2, and 3 that we moved on to the full-time equivalency scale last year. This seasonal maintenance worker position is definitely scaled back and does fit more equitably with the 11 to 1540 range. The last position is a lifeguard or WSI class instructor. We would like to put that in there in order for us to better compensate and actually the certification class instructor. So it's growing our own from within and creating our own pipeline of workers from the swim aid through the lifeguard through a WSI. Water safety instructors are those positions that can teach the swim lessons under American Red Cross standards.
And so that would differ from the lifeguard 1 that we have over here in PA3?
It does. The lifeguard certification class instructor, a lifeguard 2 is a more experienced lifeguard and therefore commands a little bit more of a salary than a lifeguard 1. But the lifeguard certification class instructor actually teaches classes to make lifeguards. So.
I actually was one of those 30 years ago.
Were you? I was too. Yeah, I was at WSI.
Yeah.
So. And then we made some deletions of obsolete positions that were also redundant positions. So you can just kind of read through those titles. We have those on our full-time equivalent scale, and we would just pay them if we had them at a part-time hour wage equivalent to a full-time. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You break out the full-time hourly wage
Yes,
on a part-time basis.
exactly. We would divide it by 2080,
Yeah.
2,080 hours. Give them an hourly rate.
And Susan, just to go back to that really quickly, do you, as I recall, these are based on job descriptions, is that correct?
Each one of these positions has a corresponding job description.
For a full-time?
Are we talking about the deleted, obsolete ones here?
Yeah.
Or, yes, those two. They are one and the same job description. It's just one does it part-time, one does it full-time. So, again, there's not much of anything that has changed here. We have just kind of condensed some titles. That's about all I have as far as changes to the plan itself.
Do we have many people working clear over in the minimum column? generally start all of our employees at the minimum.
At the minimum, that was where they start.
Depending on their
Qualifications.
qualifications.
Right.
If they were a lifeguard at the hot springs and they want to come work for us, we obviously take that into consideration.
And I have a question, Christie. When we look at officials, like umpires and hockey officials, is that an hourly rate or is that a
No, that
per
is
event rate?
Yes, that's a
Okay.
per unit rate.
All right,
So
all right.
even fitness instructors are paid per class, not per hour.
Okay.
Is there a difference between seasonal workers and part-time workers?
Yes.
Definitely.
Under Obamacare, that's when all this changed. Obamacare says that anybody working 30 or more hours is considered a full-time employee.
Even if they're only working 4 months of the year.
The seasonal employees are the exception to that,
Oh.
but there has to be a definite start and definite stop date.
Right.
Um, And it has to be within 6 months.
Okay. Ah,
Then you can be seasonal and you can work 40 hours.
Correct.
Can work plus overtime and all that too.
Yeah. The ceiling on the hours is 1,508. So that's the most a person could work, working 29 hours a week year-round.
Per person.
You could work 50 hours now to pay for your health care.
Right.
That's a good deal.
Or to not pay for your healthcare.
Or not, as the
Yeah,
case may be,
right.
yes.
yeah.
I
Right.
guarantee if you're paying for it, you're working 50 hours at $11 an hour. And you
Right.
might get a policy.
So that's basically the plan itself. In the next section, the benchmarking, I just wanted to let you know kind of some select positions that I benchmarked. I used our mid-salaries to compare these against. Weckmerd is the western Eagle County, and they have an ice rink up there. And also a pool, so I was able to get a couple of the positions from them to benchmark against, but you can kind of see here that our mid-salary is competitive with these other entities. So, like I said, we don't have much of a problem filling these positions as they stand. The place I got these benchmarks from were from the government homepages and also a website that I'm fairly familiar with called bestplaces.net, and that kind of leads us into our next session if you don't have any questions on that. So this kind of leads to our broader discussion when we start talking about, the full-time and things like that, but it also applies to our part-time. I wanted to just kind of give you a heads up that some of these comparison cities that we look at, I wanted to let you know that our cost of living in Glenwood Springs has risen. 100 being the U.S. norm, Glenwood Springs is now 33% higher in cost of living than the U.S. norm. You can see, of course, Vail is 101% higher. But you can see from 2012 to 2016, a lot of the western slope, maybe not so much in the summit area, those remain stable or decreased, but the western slope itself has increased. I thought that was an interesting statistic. Behind this page, I went to this bestplaces.net, and what you can do is you can put in the cost of living comparison. So I compared Glenwood Springs to Frisco, for example. And Frisco is 1% cheaper than Glenwood Springs to live overall right now. Health being the biggest factor of the cost of living, believe it or not. Health is 13% cheaper in Frisco than it is here. A couple of reasons for that. Again, where we were lumped in with Obamacare as far as our exchange. And the second being that we have we have the most expensive hospital in Colorado in our town. And we have,
It sure feels like it.
and possibly the most expensive hospital in the western United States.
Serious? Where does that come from?
That comes from.
Actual statistics?
Yeah.
Their own advertising.
Yeah.
They don't really advertise that, but.
No, I was just asking.
Wow, that's pretty crazy.
But,
Can you say that one more time? I-
Blanked out and.
Yeah, I was thinking about something prior. Did you say in the western?
US.
Thank you.
There's a move afoot in the State House to try to equalize that by changing our status in
Yes,
terms of
there is.
health. Are you tracking that? And
I believe the commissioners brought suit, is that correct? To the exchange, a year and a half ago? I have not heard anything.
The latest, I don't think that's gone anywhere. I think the latest plan is to just have one rate for the whole state.
Yeah, I know there's something in the State House that is, like Stephen said, and I don't know the status of that, but they've been trying to essentially make all of western Colorado one
Yeah.
level playing field or whatever it is. And
Just the pool would be the whole state,
Yeah,
rather than major regions,
yeah.
so.
That could have a significant impact on our cost of living. As you can see, it does have a significant impact. And so, you can kind of look through these cost of living comparisons that I put together for you. So we seem to be facing maybe a couple of issues. Housing, of course, everybody knows that, but also health is now on the radar. So.
what other factors go into the cost of living? I mean, obviously food prices, but I'm just curious how much.
Well, they broke these indexes down into
Oh, I see it right there.
food,
Okay.
housing, utilities, transportation.
Okay.
I don't
So if I
really.
just look closer, it'd be right there.
I did that.
But I also, compared a salary of $50,000 in Glenwood Springs could decrease to $37,181 in Rifle, Colorado,
maintain the same
and
standard.
maintain the same standard of living.
So that's why we have people making $50,000 a year living in Rifle, Colorado. so.
Yeah. But, I think I saw Aspen, if you made $50,000 in Grand Junction, you'd have to make the equivalent about $325,000 in Aspen.
I was going to ask you,
Yeah.
where does that lie here?
Yeah, I didn't put it in there. Just, I thought Vail was enough. So the last thing that I put in here, just kind of to start thinking about as we go forward here, is millennials. It's not a bad word. These are people who are born between 1982 and 2003. And millennials will comprise more than 1 in 3 adults in America in 2020. And they have a very different way of looking at things than the baby boomer generation, for example. Millennials are going to be part of up to 75% of our workforce going forward. And they're going to dominate our scope. And so they, like I said, millennials believe in creation of communities around shared interests. They believe in communities without geographical proximity. In other words, they're able to make friends online, and they don't have borders like the rest of us when we grow up, I guess. They're more likely to buy and shop products that have a social benefit. 64% of them said that they'd rather make $40,000 a year in a job that they love than make $100,000 in a job that they think is boring.
Because they've never made $100,000.
Okay, maybe so.
Just my opinion.
Out there so quickly.
I could go really far in
I'm
the
just-
tank.
They are definitely, though, attracted to entrepreneurship and technology. And so many millennials are flocking to the cities for that very reason.
If you're a Mona car drive,
Correct? they feel trapped in urban destinations like us because of the internet. Basically, at a younger age, they're exposed to so much more that this world has to offer them. And I've heard that they feel trapped here, and that the first thing they want to do is just get out. So one of the things that we're going to need to look at is, you know, of course, they're retiring. The baby boomers are retiring, the millennials are coming in. And, you know, we need to probably look at ways to attract millennials to us.
You know, I guess in one part of that I would disagree, because I think a lot of millennials really value the natural resources, the recreational
Absolutely.
things that we
They
have
do.
around here. And so I think for that reason, Glenwood is an attraction.
They are attracted to several things. They're attracted to cultural attractions, they're attracted to affordability, and they're attracted to entrepreneurship and technology. That's basically what the Brookings Institute had to say about
I've
it.
also been, and I can't remember where I read it, but it was along these similar lines, and one of the things that describe their way of thinking is that they think of where they want to be first before they think of what they want to do.
Right.
Yeah,
And I would agree with
they get
that.
there first.
Yeah,
Yeah, because where they are is more important.
to what, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
and then they usually end up figuring out a way to make a living
Right.
where they want to be.
It all goes back to our code revisions and
Well,
enforcing in.
we talked
I mean,
about that the other
yeah,
night.
I mean,
It's kind of
you want
part and
to create
parcel.
infill and a real vibrant downtown and
Yeah.
walkability and,
Yeah.
you know, all the things that we've
Some
talked
stuff
about
to do.
in our
Yeah.
development code is what those folks are looking for.
Absolutely.
And they're not they're not renting 2,000 square foot apartments. They don't even want a 1,500 square foot
Right.
apartment. They might want
Tiny house.
700 square feet,
Micro house.
nice,
Oh, yeah.
clean, but they want it nice. They're tired of the junk. This town's full of old junk, and I've seen most of it. But you're right on that. I mean, they want to be in a downtown vibrant community. And so that kind of goes back, so it's like full circle, you know, into
Yeah.
what we're doing with all the other
Yeah.
stuff we're doing.
And Stephen is right too, that you mentioned cars, you know.
Yeah, they don't wanna
they're not
drive.
as- I mean,
They
one
don't
car-
love their cars as much
Is
as
their
previous
bike.
Some of
generations.
them-
Well, yeah.
I think the policy direction to Susan on this is pretty small, just ministerial changes in accepting this information for future discussions. And I sent everybody an email on this in the mid-afternoon, but I misspoke this morning. I thought we were talking police, fire, and electric linemen tonight. We're not. But we should be able to come back with that in 6 weeks, your second meeting in May. Susan's waiting on data from CML. It's a lot more efficient to wait for that data. They're good at collecting it. It's reliable, better than, you know, her or her staff's time calling around neighboring jurisdiction on a dozen positions in 3 different departments in 8 area municipalities. CML does that. So I just want to give you a snapshot of what's next. But then after that, I think the next discussion of compensation probably will be your regular annual discussion as part of your budget process. It's time consuming to gather this and present it, but we know it's a priority, so we'll have it in next month.
With respect to the electric linemen, I think we had this discussion during our last discussion about this. Are you also able to look at, I'm not sure if they're actually private, but quasi-private electric utilities in terms of
We
wages?
belong to several organizations that have some of that data.
Okay, so Holy Cross, Excel, Energy,
That-
Black Hills.
Holy Cross, I haven't been able to get a hold of theirs.
Are they just
But
unwilling to?
yeah, but I am actually, the papers list their ranges.
Okay,
So
good.
it's just a matter of matching apples to apples with them,
Yeah.
which I definitely have been keeping my eye on. But APPA is another one that puts out a salary survey in the CML. That it's just, again, we're kind of an enigma because we have an electric utility.
Yeah.
So we're kind of in the same boat with IES. having broadband.
But there are several other entities on the western slope that have electric
That is-
utilities that purchase their power like we do from Mean, and that might be a source of information as well.
Yeah. I'm looking at it already, so.
May 19th is your day.
Okay.
I guess the last point I wanted to make here is just keeping our eye on the ball as far as attracting millennials to our city. How can we do that? My thoughts on this are basically millennials want to be part of the focus on people and a purpose, to be part of something bigger.
Fiber optic would probably help out if we got that.
Yep.
Last mile.
Yeah.
And then
Not necessarily, that's all changing.
but also, I think that we have to look internally, and millennials seek strategic thinkers, inspirational, personable, and visionary people to work for. So
we're in trouble.
we'll need to revisit the leaders.
I'm joking.
Good
We
shape.
need to make sure that we're grooming the leaders to think about this as
What
well.
about housing when we come back to?
Oh, huge. Housing's huge. Pay a sustainable wage to make it affordable to live here.
Yeah.
And what I mean
We
is,
don't want to commute.
as a young, educated millennial, not just a millennial, but a young, educated one as well, so.
I mean, that's the target.
Right.
I mean, those are the people that can save, that can spend, and create investment and create
Well,
value in the community.
Right.
We face it across the board, just like the school district does. A beginning teacher makes about $24,000 a year. Can't live.
Yes.
Yeah. So-
Save a good
Well, it depends on.
Thank you, Susan.
Yeah.
That's all I have right now.
And I am
You've
curious.
got extra hours.
If you have any questions, let us know.
How does this little recreational intern meeting work?
We recruit, well, usually they call
My
us
parent- my
an
parents-
internship.
Oh, boy, I'm gonna take two because
So
this is my
college
absolute
students,
favorite.
her intern from Wisconsin, she's getting a degree in recreation.
Oh, okay, so they would be going into that field. Okay. Jamie's like, maybe coming back this fall, for the summer, I don't know if she is or not.